that are collecting sales tax on a regular basis. That's no big deal for them. They're going to take the rate down 0.5%, no big deal. On the other end of the scale, you have those that have never had to deal with sales tax before, lawyers, accountants, so those that maybe not dealt with it at all. But then you got the stuff in the middle, where you sell some goods and some services. So compliance for them ought to be pretty good. So again, in our factoring out what the impact here would be to enable us to help set those rates, again, we try to take all those things in consideration. A lot of moving parts. We have some good data, but it's not going to be perfect, and that's the reasons for the resets is that we have better information a year from now than we have today. So we know that if it needs to be changed because we missed it, because it was too high or too low, we can adjust it so it's back to where we want it to be to guarantee that minimum 10%. But again, anything else, like Rhonda said, comes in beyond that, you keep it. Yes, sir.
How did you come up with 10% growth only? Why not 15% or 20%? I mean, we're at 2005 revenue levels, and now you're saying we're only going to get 10%. I mean, how did you come up with 10%?
What is the likely? Were we not to make this change, what is the likely rate of growth in the state in the sales tax on a statewide basis? And it's somewhere between 5 and 6%. And so then the idea is there ought to be some benefit to the sales tax jurisdictions. We went from 5, 6 up to 10, and then again in the second year it's 15. Actually, so there's that additional growth. So the idea is we're not setting it back to revenue neutral. We're setting it back to some level of benefit from the proposal for the sales tax levy.
Really to try to make it more palatable. I mean, we could have set it at about a 6%, which is what the economic modeling tells us. But let's make this a little bit more palatable, and we put, sweeten it a little bit, put a few more percent in. I mean, that's basically it. Yes, sir.
I'm looking at your towers for income taxes here, your income tax rates.
Yeah.
And of course, highest stands above all. One of the things I'm starting to see, and I think some around the room, we're having villages pile on income taxes a lot lately, which that's probably pushing that up higher. And then the part we don't see, which is another inflation of that we don't see, is where municipalities are cutting credits for their residents who work other places, pushing that up again. Then we have places like Columbus that went from 2% and told everybody all the police and fire be fired, so they went to 2.5% here in the last 2 years.
Yes.
So we're starting to see that thing really mushroom up. Some of it is because of local government cuts as they see it. Is there an attempt maybe to cap local income taxes, school district taxes? What's the stir we hear about
you
the
want
state?
to see me strung up at broad and high?
It's all part of it. It's all part of that chart.
One of those light poles right outside the state house. No, I'd rather not do it. I understand the point, and we hear enough about things sort of in that general municipal area. No, we think we're taking on a lot here, and no, we didn't even seriously discuss anything.
Well, on behalf of the tax preparers then, is preparers are doing returns for the federal and the state, and they're all automatic.
Yeah.
And the state has considered in the past possibly collecting municipal income tax and distributing it out like they do with the school district income tax, like they do with other things.
Electric thing, yeah.
Where's that at?
School district. We don't have a proposal. There was a bill last session, House Bill 601, Representative Grossman, and I forget who the other lead sponsor was, to move into the direction of some uniformity. Not centralized collection, but just some uniformity, and I don't remember the areas, maybe Mark remember what the areas that they were dealing with. That bill has essentially been reintroduced in the General Assembly. It's House Bill 5, and do you remember what the elements, the uniformity elements, is it carryovers, net operating losses, I forget what it was.
Some of it was administrative, like everybody would expect the same extension forms, and some of it was the extension period, the extension due dates.
This is a I've not been in the middle of this, but certainly from a distance, this has been a really rough area, because we hear a lot from practitioners, how complex it is and how expensive it is, and all that kind of thing, there was a group that met, I guess, the best part of a year, I suppose, on how long they met, organized by two state representatives from municipalities, House Municipal League, various other folks, to try to say, what can we do to start moving in a positive direction. You know, Ohio is probably the worst in the country. I hate to say it, but when it comes to the local level taxation, we are the worst in the country in terms of complexity and costs. And so steps that we can take in those directions. We did not include them in this proposal. We're dealing with the state issues, except for the resets we just talked about, county level. But this is enough to take on, to be honest with you. The others are working on the municipal side. But I'll be honest with you, I mean, compared to what you may be talking about, they're nibbling at the edges.